I'm Melissa with Sentimental Salvage and Design, and I am going to be working on a test project. I have an idea for a piece of furniture, and I just need to test it out first, so I'm going to be testing it on just a signboard, and we'll see how that works. And my base coat is going to be Fusion Sterling. So the colors that I'm thinking of using is Sterling, Paisley, and this is Blue Pine. This is kind of my palette, and we're going to see how this works. I should have my water bottle handy, but of course I don't. Spritzing it with water once in a while really helps to keep your finish smooth. And you can feel when it's too dry because you get a lot of drag on your brush. I'm really noticing that right now with my hand. So I'm trying not to put too much pressure on my broken hand. Okay, so there's one coat, and I'm just gonna let this dry. And then we'll give it another coat, just because this is my base color and I want it to be a good solid base. So we're going to give this a second coat of Sterling, but first I'm going to give it a mist of water, and that's just going to help my paint move a little bit easier. Yeah, that goes on way better. So I'm not using a lot of pressure here. So if you were aiming to get a brush-free finish, you would just lightly go over it with your brush. And if you're using a really good synthetic bristle brush like a Klingon, this is the S30, but Klingon has so many different sizes to choose from. These work really, really well for getting that brush-free finish when you're using any kind of paint, but they work really, really well with Fusion. Okay, so now we have to dry this, and I'm just gonna dry it. Totally forgot my mic. Maybe this will help. Maybe now you'll hear me over my air conditioner. So we're just gonna dry it with the heat tool. There we go. That's good and dry. And now we are going to work on the finish that I want to create. Okay, so I'm going to work with Paisley, I think, first. So I'm just going to scoop some out with my brush. That should be enough. I just want to add a little bit of water. I'm going to water it a little bit more. I don't really have a set plan here. I'm just wanting to water it down so that it's not so thick. And I'm going to be using this brush. This is I bought it at a hardware store. It's a stain brush. But it's got, I like these little short bristles, and it really works well for making some texture. So that is my plan. So you can see how that's darker than the edge, but it's not at all how I want it to look. So I'm going to try a different method here. I'm just going to take some of this sterling dab it on here. Wow, this brush is losing bristles like crazy. Okay, so that's working a little bit better. Figuring this out as we go. Dry brush is what I'm going to want to do. Not wet. No wet. So I have some. Let's get some more paint here. Always really dab it off to start. So now this is blue pine. Okay, so see how that's kind of, what I'm not liking is it seems like the brush is not level. I don't know, maybe it's me. Okay, now this is sterling again. I'm just layering. Layering and layering. So then my plan is to be able to do a transfer on this after. And then do this whole technique on a big piece of furniture. Well, it's not a big piece, it's kind of a small piece, but I'm trying to plan my stuff out for when I can actually work on a piece of furniture with this hand. So the more I was looking at this, the more I didn't like it. So just off camera, I just took sterling, which is the lightest color, and I just brushed it straight across to give it a little bit more of a even kind of look. Trying to go relatively straight, which I think is the hardest part. Okay, so I'm liking that a lot better. And I think I'm gonna go over it with a little bit of the paisley. I'm gonna try that. If all else fails, I can just repaint over it again, right? So I'm kind of liking the depth that I'm getting. If you just keep going, eventually you get where you want to be, right? I think I like it now. So I've decided that I want to use these little birds out of IOD's Brocante tractor transfer. IOD doesn't have a tractor. Well, the sisters might have a tractor. I don't know. Anyways, whatever. I'm babbling. I'm going to use this, and then I'm just going to use part of it. I'm going to have to cut some of these little birds off. And then this is the word selah. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it is out of the Desperado transfer, and it's Hebrew for, if I remember right, to pause or to reflect. I could have that totally wrong, but to kind of finish, to end, to pause, to reflect, you know, something like that. So I figured it would fit with this. So first off, I want to cut out these little birds because I'm going to end with this guy, because on this side, this guy's looking this way, and then with this little guy looking this way, I figured it kind of bookends it nicely. So if I can work my scissors, perfect. Okay, now this, I think this will look really pretty on here. If I can get that on there relatively straight. Something like this with fine lines, you want to be really careful that you're lifting this backing paper up really slowly and making sure that your transfer has transferred, your image has transferred down, because you'll really notice any gaps or oopses if you have it skip. You'll really notice that with something with this fine lines. So I'm trying to be really careful. See how I've got a little piece left there? That's not cool. Can't even tell. Same thing, I'm just going to burnish this down. There. I've been looking for a spot to use this word, and and I think it goes perfect with these little birds. These make excellent project sample pieces. So before you hit that big piece of furniture with all your paintbrushes and your paint, grab something like this and practice the technique on it. That makes it takes the stress off as far as being worried about messing up that big piece. So, all right guys, thanks so much for watching.